Mobile is a name that's still not as big as other smartphone brands, but is slowly making itself known by offering devices at affordable price points, usually with the performance and even looks of a higher-end device. Last year, the company introduced the Note 10 Pro as a mid-range contender, and at just below 10,000 pesos, it offers specs and features not usually seen in its category. Now it's 2022 and Infinix is trying to outdo itself by offering the same model but with beefier specs. So what has changed for the 2022 variant, and how do these changes affect overall performance? Hey guys, Kevin here, you're with the Modern Creatures and welcome to another video. This is our 2022 Infinix Note 10 Pro review. We haven't had the chance to review last year's offering, so allow us to take you on a quick tour starting from its design. So first things first, yes, this design is on the bigger side of things and actually reminds me of the glory days of phablets back in 2015 or so. As such, one-handed operation is usually not the easiest thing to do here, and even myself with slightly bigger than average hands still have to use both, especially when typing. Probably the next thing you'll notice is how shiny it is, and also a magnet for fingerprints and smudges. This is due to its mostly plastic back that appears to look like glass to go for a more premium vibe. Adding to that, the silver back comes with a segmented design but only for visual sake. There's no difference in texture, and it's all just one smooth fingerprint magnet back here. Thankfully, the package comes with a transparent jelly case to avoid smudging your phone and keep it looking nice and clean if you like using phone cases. For its buttons, the volume rocker is on the right side, just above the power plus lock button. It's also interesting to note that this button acts as a fingerprint scanner for security instead of an in-display approach, possibly to keep costs down. Moving on, the left side houses its dual SIM slots, plus a micro SD slot for storage expansion. And apart from those, the top is vacant while you have the usual elements below, namely a 3.5mm audio jack, USB Type-C port, and a speaker grill, all surrounded by the strip of chrome that's also a bit of a smudge magnet. Overall, it's not as heavy as it looks at 209 grams. It just has a bit of extra weight but doesn't heavily affect the physical experience. The curves of its corners make gripping the phone easy, and its tall orientation makes landscape usage more enjoyable. And finally, we have this camera module on the upper left corner that's embossed in two levels. One is for this aesthetic bump right here that shows the camera specs, and then there's the camera module itself housing its quad camera setup. Taking advantage of its big form factor is, of course, its display. It comes with a large 6.95-inch screen with Full HD Plus resolution. It maxes out with a refresh rate of 90Hz for smoother movements and a 180Hz touch sampling rate, both of which are useful and great for gaming. It's got good visibility indoors and even outdoors, but you do have to crank its brightness up to about 80% and above to clearly see content on its screen. The front camera breaks the display as a small dot, but it's not that obtrusive and hasn't really bothered me when I watch on it. And for picture quality, images are clear and detailed, but again, I found myself needing to put the display's brightness to the maximum, or at least around 90%, to achieve the best possible images. I'm not sure why this is the case, but it feels like its display brightness is concentrated more on higher values. Either way, the screen is able to reproduce images and colors that are more than enough for casual streaming of shows or movies, and its large display makes things more immersive and easier for sharing. Of course, you won't fully enjoy consuming content without audio, and the Note 10 Pro comes with dual speakers for a more immersive experience as compared to just having one speaker blasting audio from one side. Audio quality is decent and can go loud with only minimal distortion. It even comes with DTS audio and a dedicated app to tweak the equalizer and set sound modes depending on different actual scenes. Its audio performance can definitely suffice for personal consumption and even as the dedicated music player for intimate gatherings. I personally wish they make stereo speakers like these a more common offering for affordable smartphones. They just elevate media consumption by a lot. Its quad camera setup is headlined by a 64-megapixel sensor with an 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens. Adding to those are black and white and depth sensors, both at 2 megapixels. On the flip side, a 16-megapixel camera takes care of your selfies. The main 64-megapixel lens takes detailed photos despite shooting in different scenarios. Shots taken outdoors under the sun showed nice colors and clarity, but darks seem to easily lose details. Turn HDR on and you do see more elements, but usually at the cost of having digital noise or that grainy detail you see in darker areas. Indoors, I feel like dynamic range is somewhat limited by compromising the darkest and lightest areas in order to concentrate on showing more details for its mids. See how inside this small shadows hide a lot of details, while the sky is a bit blown out just to maintain a decent exposure for the majority of the interior. HDR fixes this, but digital noise appears and makes the corners look smudgy, as you can see. Still, I find myself using its HDR more, both for indoor and outdoor shots. They generally produce photos detailed enough for posting on social media. As for its other lenses, I still go for ultra-wide the most since I like shooting landscapes. I mean, I was still able to capture great shots using its digital zoom as it still preserves enough clarity and adds variety to my shots. But next to the camera, ultra-wide is my go-to. Its 2-megapixel black and white and depth sensor do help in adding flair to my photos, especially when I use its portrait shooting mode. It was able to produce nice cutouts of subjects even with strands of stray hair involved. It's not super clean, but clean enough to proudly post online. For night shots, image quality is not bad, but not the best either. Images are a bit too grainy for me, but playing with the camera's features should be able to help you produce better shots. And for selfies, portrait mode also works well and nicely cuts out the subject to blur the background. Its beautification mode also works well, but do use it sparingly as overdoing it looks a bit fake. And now onto the biggest difference from its 2021 counterpart, an upgraded MediaTek Helio G95 processor. One of the few downsides of the previous Note 10 Pro was its aging CPU. So with this 2022 model, it now offers faster performance and optimizations, of course. This is still partnered with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Now you may check other reviews if you want actual numbers from benchmarks, but with this tandem, running your usual apps and games is very smooth and almost without lags. And those rare lags are when I push a game's graphics high. But switching from one app to another is smooth, startup of software is fast, and running tasks simultaneously is possible. Its Android 11 operating system with the company's XOS 7.6 on top gives you features and tools that make navigation easier, more efficient, and secure. For gaming, there's Game Zone to boost performance and help you focus more on playing by temporarily disabling other notifications. There are also security functions like X-Proof or Peek-Proof that lets you block certain areas of the screen in case you're viewing something sensitive in public, like your private documents. Meanwhile, X-Hide is an encrypted vault for your documents and keeps them away from prying eyes. It's also nice to know that while it comes with a few third-party apps pre-installed, bloatwares or unnecessary apps are not abundant, which you can even get rid of if you won't use them. My entire time of using it consists mostly of browsing on social media platforms, checking our website, watching YouTube videos, streaming different content, and gaming. Alternating those, the Note 10 Pro handled itself very well and is actually enjoyable, especially for watching and gaming. With its large display and a more capable processor, consuming content is more immersive. I did notice it getting really warm, not to the point that it becomes unbearable, but you really feel the warm touch of its body when playing games that require a lot of processing power. Maybe for next year's iteration, Infinix can improve cooling of the device? Just an idea. In terms of battery, it holds a 5000 mAh capacity that lasts long despite its larger than usual display. It was able to last for 13 hours in our continuous video streaming test before running out of juice, and for its real-life usage, I was able to rely on it as my main device for an entire day with usually a bit of battery left around dinner time. And with that big capacity comes a 33-watt fast charging technology. But still, it was able to top up the device from 0 to 100% in over 2 hours. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to leave the house with a fully charged battery. And as always, in our reviews, The Modern Creatures aims to find special features in devices that make them worth having. Their creature feature, and for the Infinix Note 10 Pro, it would have to be its updated processor, definitely. As it was last year, the 2021 Note 10 Pro already comes with specs that are not usually seen in its price range, like its 8GB of RAM for example. For this year, Infinix was able to make a great device even better without increasing its price. With that said, the 2022 Infinix Note 10 Pro in 256GB comes with the same price at 11,990 pesos. And they even offered it for less if you're one of the early adopters. With that price, what you get is a premium looking but a very smudge magnet design and a capable processor to confidently handle most tasks you throw at it. And that's about it for our 2022 Infinix Note 10 Pro review. As always, visit our website and follow us on our social media pages for more news, features, and reviews. Once again, that's it for me. I'm Kevin. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.